All right. Well, now we're actually recording. So hi, everybody. Today I'm Laura Wick. If you guys don't remember me, Laura Wick, the BodyMind coach. I can't even say it today. The BodyMind coach from laurawick.com. And today I'm excited that we have Carly Clark-Zimmer here with us, who is a graduate of the BodyMind coaching program and also kick-ass practitioner. She's a massage therapist by trade and has really, it's been really cool for me to watch her journey evolve and see her step into this coaching world. I know you have an amazing Facebook group, Simple Sacred Life. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Which you definitely need to go join if you're not in it yet. And today we just wanted to get together and kind of talk about Carly's experience going through the BodyMind coaching program, what she learned, what she got out of it. We have some people here watching who are members of the group. And I think it's really inspiring. It's one thing for me to talk about this stuff all the time. It's another thing to see people who have gone through it. And because you actually are like, you give everybody hope that this is possible. And then also there might be some people watching this who are considering BodyMind coaching or are like, I've never heard of it. What is it? So I think just hearing Carly's journey is going to be really amazing. So welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to talk with you today because I remember when I first talked with you a few years ago, I was like, who's already done this program? What results are they getting? And I think it is really helpful. And my intention today is just to let everybody know it is totally possible. Mm-hmm. There is a path, but it's also very personal, which is exactly what you teach everybody. Yes. And I have taken so many business courses and nothing has been like this because it's always been missing this really, really important piece about alignment.
Oh my gosh. I want to jump into that. And before we get into the alignment piece, I'd love to get a sense of where were you prior to BodyMind coaching? Can you tell us a little bit about that part of your life?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try to give the condensed.
You take as long as you need.
Well, I have been a massage therapist for 12 years now. It's actually, I kept saying 10 years, but that was 2 years ago. So it's been about 12 years.
Oh my gosh.
And for about half my career, I worked at a really nice 5-star spa in New York City. And I learned so much about customer service and how I love to treat my clients just at a really high level. And I was totally overworked and burnt out and did so many massages every day. I worked 5 days a week and just was on this path to burnout.
Yeah.
Because it was deep tissue day after day and tendinitis and headaches. And then I started to self-soothe with really unhealthy habits around the stress that was building up in my body with like drinking too much wine at the end of the night, which didn't make me sleep good. And then I'd have to get up and do it all over again.
Yeah. And say a little bit about your schedule. Cause it wasn't just, 5 or 6 sessions, 5 or 6 deep tissue sessions in a row sounds like absolutely horror to me. But there was so much more to that than just the actual sessions themselves.
Yeah. So for many of those years, I commuted to the city. So it was an hour and a half each way. And, we had such a high level of service so that there were standards that we had to meet and we had to serve our clients in a very particular way, which I learned a lot from, but I also felt like I couldn't bring my full self into how I wanted to treat my clients because I am a fact finder. I love learning things and I love learning about all different ways to nurture our body and mind. And I actually had like standards that I couldn't bring that into the treatments. So that started building up stress in me as well.
So you're sitting here saying like, I know there's better ways to take care of yourself and you're not able to bring them into the session, but then also you're so exhausted going home, commuting an hour and a half into the city, and then, getting wrapped up in some habits that might not be healthy for you either, even though it's like, I want to say this stuff and I can't say this stuff, and like just
Yeah.
cycling.
Yeah. And it was literally the physical element of stress building up in my body with the physical tension and the exhaustion from the commute. Because I was building my business on the side as well. So I'd get up in the morning, work on my business, even see a few private clients, and then commute in, and then do the 5 sessions of deep tissue massage, and then come home and then be exhausted and have, one too many glasses of wine. So it was like this crazy cycle that ultimately just led to a moment in my body that was, this is enough.
And I have a question for you before we go into the this is enough moment, because, I know I talk a lot. There's a lot of like that broke healer mentality, a lot of, give. You actually had the interesting problem of what I would call the golden handcuffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you actually had a very lush job as a massage therapist. You were doing really well financially, like it was consistent. I know you had healthcare where you were. That, can you talk a little bit about like that pressure? Because I think a lot of times, I find, and I think we really work best of who I love to work with are the therapists who are burnt out, exhausted, giving. Their schedule is already maxed out. But I think one of the things that I see is that there's this belief of, well, I should be grateful.
Oh, that was one of the hardest things that I fought up against, because I had health insurance, I had sick days, I had paid vacation. It was a union job, so I really could have stayed there for the rest of my life and had a secure job. But it was so difficult because I was making more money than I'd ever made in my entire life. Like I had, up until that point, I had never had any extra. And now I was having this amazing income and all these benefits, but none of it really mattered because I was miserable. And yet I still had this desire to, like this really big desire to make an impact with my clients. But yet what was happening was I had no energy left. It was all zapped away by all of the things, just trying to do everything. Yeah. And not having the tools to manage that energy. So I didn't know about a lot of the things that you teach in your program about valuing myself and respecting myself and building my schedule really around what's going to help me serve my clients best.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you have to be healthy in order to give in that way. And I'm kind of curious, like what was that breaking point for you? Like what made you actually pull the trigger? Because I think a lot of times practitioners, like, again, that golden handcuffs, like I should be grateful. I have the full schedule. And also it sounds like there was another thing that we see is like, the repetition of the same freaking stuff over and over again, where the client can be doing better. And then you are in a place where you can't actually give them, really step into that role and offer those insights. And, just everybody's kind of stuck, but it's like, oh, but I can't, so what brought you to that point where you're like, I'm done, fuck it. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I had like a mini panic attack. I was coming home from work one night really late. And if anyone knows me, they know I love my mornings and I like to get up early. But I didn't get home until 11 o'clock most nights. So it was late. My husband picked me up from the train and I was just hyperventilating. Like, I cannot do this anymore. I can't. I'm exhausted. And I was mad and frustrated. And like, I'm not an angry person, but there was so much anger and frustration bubbling up that it just got me into this, like my body was just saying, no, you can't do this anymore. Yeah. And then my husband and I made a 3-month exit strategy. And then I went back to work 2 days later after this panic attack. Yeah. And I gave notice that day. The 3-month exit strategy did not work because I went back and we had a team meeting and normally I'm on time, I'm early for everything, and I just could not go. I had this visceral experience that was like my organs twisting in knots. And I was like, I cannot go to that meeting.
What do you think your body was saying in that moment? Like through
Get
this
out
whole
of here.
Yeah.
It's time to leave.
Yes. Well, I don't like, I'm thinking of some people in my space that aren't massage therapists, and these are people I love dearly, and they're in jobs where they're so unfulfilled, miserable. It's totally the golden handcuffs thing. And this friend in particular is just like, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, at some point, like the irony is, that fear of taking a risk. And oftentimes it's that fear of failure. We resist it. We resist it. We resist it. And it's like, we're scared of failing because what if, everything falls apart. And then we stay in these circumstances where it's like literally your body is falling apart.
Everything's falling apart.
And the thing that you are scared, like that leap of faith you're scared to take because of what if, is actually becoming your reality in in that situation. It's always, I always say, like, the reason why you think you can't is the reason you absolutely have to do it. And at some point your body, it's going to take a crisis. Our dear friend Terry likes to say, the universe will wake you up with the twig, or you can wait for the 2x4. But either way, like, it's coming. And the sooner you learn to listen and act on it, like, the better. So what happened after you took the leap of faith and quit?
Well, I just want to touch upon that real quick too before I move on, because I was also seeing that all around me as well.
Yes.
Like I loved my coworkers. They're amazing. They're still really good friends of mine. But a lot of them were suffering from the same thing, and they were having surgeries, and they were having to take a lot of time off. And it was just becoming very apparent to me that this was the clear path forward. And it was not. Like, it didn't matter how much money I was making, because I was working nights and weekends and never seeing my family. So really, what was the point?
Yeah. And I remember seeing the same thing when I first started at a spa. And I realized it quickly. I'm like, I was looking around at the people that had been there for years. And I was like, do I want that to be me? And I was like, I got to play this smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I left, and then I had been building my own business on the side. So then I put all of my energy, and I think that's when I came into your world.
Yes.
Was literally like 2 weeks after I left. And
divine timing as always. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a different program than the actual, what the BodyMind program is now. Right. And the funny thing is, Laura, I built the same freaking thing in my own practice, nights and weekends, and still always making sure I'm taking care of the clients. And it didn't last that long, but it lasted long enough for me to realize that I was in a pattern.
Yeah. And I feel like this is coming up for me. I feel like I have to make a confession. Sure. So that when I started massage in 2005 and, worked in the spas, all that stuff. And then I started my practice when I moved, got married, and we did this all in the same month. I can't think. We moved, we got married. Oh, and this is right around the time when the economy tanked. And then I started my business all at the same time. Anyway, but I started it with the intention. I had already done my first coaching certification, and I started it with the intention of doing BodyMind coaching. And of course took some masculine advice that said, build the massage practice first and then do the coaching, which is why it took me years to figure out how to charge for it. So for those of you who come into BodyMind coaching, please know it took me a good 5 years to figure out what we teach you how to do in 6 months. So if you want to save 5 years and a ton of money,
absolutely.
Yeah. But here's my confession. When the time came for me to step in and teach this work to other practitioners, I got advice from a very masculine business in the head person who told me to sell business first. So the program that you took
was all about business. Yeah.
That helped you build your business, but it helped you build the same freaking scenario that got you stuck in the first place.
Yeah, that's
And
so
so,
interesting.
isn't it so funny? Because it was in my heart. I was like, I know I want to teach this body mind coaching thing. And the advice I got was like, well, nobody knows what that is. Go teach business. They know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually in that, what I saw that I created was like, I can help people make money. I have absolutely no problem with that.
Oh yeah.
I love that part. I can show you how to fill your schedule. No big deal.
But again, it doesn't matter.
But my heart, I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm only creating and perpetuating the same cycle that I think is keeping so many practitioners stuck in that time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting to me. And I just want to like, thank you for being in that process, because it helped me realize like, yes, I want to help practitioners, the healing professionals, thrive in your businesses and really serve your clients. And what I learned in my offerings was that we've got to do this in a body mind way, or else we're going to perpetuate a cycle of burnout that is keeping so many of us stuck.
Absolutely. And I think it's even more important for holistic practitioners.
Yes.
Because we have this tendency to give, and we really do have that connection with our clients. And it's not all about the money,
No.
like all of that is great, but everybody in the program is, they're so heart-centered and they want to serve their clients on such a high level. So that's why this piece is so important.
Yes. Well, yeah.
We have that natural tendency to just want to over give and over deliver.
Yeah. Well, and I think so. It's so interesting to me is that when you're in your work, what I see is you're, as the practitioner, when you are actually doing the thing that you do, you are so embodied, so intuitive, in tune with the client, like you just sense what needs to happen, and you do that. And then as soon as we go into making offers and selling our services and building our businesses, it's like we go straight up into the head. And then we go right into those patterns of like, well, I can't charge too much, and like all the things, and we freak out and we contract. And so, I to me, like that, I always say this, like the how is actually easy. The hard part is doing it from a space of alignment.
Absolutely.
And that's, to me, with the body mind piece, it's like, we're giving you a tool to help your clients get in alignment, and we're showing you how to live it and breathe it for yourself and carry it into your business and carry it into your offers. And it's such a different, and maybe I should ask this as a question. For me, I can tell when I'm trying to strategize from the head and I get all contracted. And then as soon as I come back into my body, as soon as I come, just back into the heart of this mission, it's like, that surrender the world releases. So can you share a little bit about, I want to go in like 5 different directions right now. I do want to hear about like how that alignment feels for you. And then also I kind of want to hear about like what made you decide to actually take the leap into body mind? Like, cause I feel like you sensed it and then you felt it as you came in.
Okay.
So there's like 10 questions there.
Yeah.
So pick one.
Well, I think I'll start with the last one first.
Okay.
So the leap into body mind was that realization that as I built my private practice, and I built a thriving practice in 2 years with the very masculine way of doing business, and it was successful, and it still didn't feel great. And I was still like, what the heck? I made the hard decision to leave a job that didn't feel good. And even though it felt better because I was in much more control of the way that I could structure my practice, it still didn't feel great. And I was still making decisions that, that like tingly zip of energy that when something doesn't feel aligned, it's just like, ugh, and makes you seize up.
Yes.
I kept having those moments of, I don't really want to do this, but this is what I'm supposed to do because that's what massage therapists do. And it felt so shitty. And I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I knew I was smart enough to figure out a different way. I didn't know what that way was, but I just knew that there was a different way to do it. because I've been reading all of the books and studying all the
Yeah.
things.
Well, and I also heard you talking about, you also wanted to bring in this wellness component, and it
Yes.
sounded very vague when you're like, I know there's more. Here I am doing massage and I know all of this stuff because you're so good at like the knowledge and all the research and information that you've gathered over the years. Like, what was that? What was that? There was like something missing. I felt this too. I'm like, there's a thing that I can't touch, but I know it's there and I know it's missing.
Right. Like I had all this knowledge and all of this studying and all of these courses, but I didn't know how to bring it together. And I think for massage therapists and holistic practitioners, we have lots of continuing ed that we do. So we learn lots of different things that our clients have no idea what they are, but yet we have this whole toolbox of how we can serve them. But I didn't know any other way other than add it to a menu and they can select the service. And that just wasn't really working. So what made me join BodyMind was this opportunity to actually take everything and look at it, everything that I knew from a holistic vantage point, and bring all of that into the session so that I could use whatever I needed to with
I've always felt that like, the traditional continuing ed, because yes, when you come into BodyMind, we do have continuing ed credits, but
yes, and that's what made me sign up.
So not what you're used to, just so you know. But like what I always felt was that I learned all these modalities, and to me it was like the modalities were like bricks, and I was laying all these bricks, but it wasn't anything stable because you could just go like this and the whole thing would fall apart. I always felt that like coaching was the mortar between the bricks. That like it's somehow all of a sudden it just made everything connect, and it allowed me to build a strong business. Whereas before, and I see so many practitioners are trying to sell modality and like you said, put it on the service menu and sell it. And like, when I first did craniosacral and I was like, oh, it's so amazing. People are like, I don't know what that is. Just give me a freaking deep tissue massage. Okay.
Exactly.
Right. So here we are learning all this incredible stuff and like,
you couldn't use it. Like not really.
And there's so much more than just like the hands-on piece of it too.
Yes, exactly. And I know for me, I could see that there was an opportunity to impact my clients in a bigger way. And I just didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to make the work last. I didn't know how to share the information that I knew. And honestly, I didn't even know. I knew about coaching, but I didn't really know about coaching.
Yeah.
Like I knew about health coaches, and
I
was like, that sounds really cool, but now I got to go back to school for that, get another certification. And what BodyMind coaching really helped me do was just, like you said, like bring in and structure the conversation so that the clients were a participant and I wasn't just like shooting information at them.
I think people have a preconceived notion that like, there's a lot of coaching out there that's like coaching, but basically they tell you how to do something. In my mind, that's not really coaching, that's consulting. And there are times that obviously I, in this business, act as a consultant. But to me, coaching is more about discovery and self-awareness. And it's really about holding space for someone so that they can tune into themselves. And is that not also a massage?
Yeah, absolutely.
So they really blend together. And you do need to be aware of the line is of like how to hold space for somebody without, going outside a scope of practice or anything.
Right.
But to me, like the conversation actually, I'll ask it as a question. How has bringing in that coaching conversation shifted like the work that you do?
Oh my gosh. It gives the client this space to actually say or feel what they're feeling. And sometimes they might come in and there's like a very surface level thing that we talk about. But what the coaching conversation does is it just helps them say, well, you know what's really going on.
Yeah.
And again, there's a whole scope, and that's what you teach in this program. Yeah. But it really allows, and what I've seen in my own experience is when someone has that opportunity to be witnessed like that, and just seen and heard, all of a sudden the tension in their body starts to melt away.
Well, and that leap, first of all, I think so many holistic practitioners, and again, we both come from the massage world, clients are still coming to the table saying, well, here's what's really going on. And you're like, deer in headlights, what am I supposed to do with this?
Right.
Right. And the thing is, what's really going on is what's really going on in their back. It's really what's going on in their, in their abdomen and their hips. Like what's really going on is the tension that they're feeling in their body.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how do you actually use the conversation to guide and keep them back in there? And you do it so eloquently and so gracefully, but you're right. When people are witnessed and they just get a space to tune in, oftentimes the tension starts to shift.
Yeah. And the other really interesting component that once I learned this conversation and the structure is to open up that dialogue between people and their bodies. Mm-hmm. And I think it just gives them this whole new language to learn. And all of a sudden their bodies can talk back to them and just tell them what they need. Whereas I believe, this is personal opinion, but I just believe that most of us in the West are just giving our power away to everybody and, people with big certifications and degrees. And we don't take
white coats.
And we don't take the time to actually say, well, how do I feel? What do I think that I need? And that's what I love teaching my clients is I don't tell them what to do. I want to teach you how to listen to you so that you have this tool so that you can continue to use it forever. Like this just relearning how to listen to this whole thing going on below the neck.
Yeah. Well, and so can you maybe share a little bit about your experience coming into BodyMind? Because part of the process is you actually doing it for yourself. So what shifted for you as you started to tune in? Because here you are, you've been in one job where completely disconnected and exhausted. You go out into business for yourself, create another situation where you're exhausted and probably disconnected from yourself. Mm-hmm. So what was it like to come into BodyMind, to make that decision and then have this space where you're like, oh my goodness, now I have to listen to myself?
It was simple, but it wasn't easy.
It's an ongoing process. Yeah.
It was a challenge because you're used to doing things a certain way. And then when you learn this alignment piece, there's a whole element of trust that needs to be reestablished and created that, oh my gosh, I can trust this, but we've been distrusting it. Is that a word? Distrust?
It is now. Yeah.
Okay. But we've just been kind of ignoring that for so long, possibly decades. And now we're all of a sudden saying, okay, it's okay for me to listen to this alignment piece, but that's where it's hard. And that's where the community has been hands down, like the best, most supportive way for me to stick to that alignment, even when my head is like, no, but I got to do this and I got to do this and I got to like do all the things. Mm-hmm. That's where this BodyMind community has been like so different than any other business courses or communities that I've been a part of. It's like bringing you back to you, not like you have to do all the things.
Mm-hmm. And from the alignment, we can play with your business. From the alignment, you can talk about different
when you do that
services. Yeah. When you do that, what?
When you do that, it just makes me laugh because someone literally emailed me today. I was like, I just tweaked a little thing in my email that went out today. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I just need to make an offer and say, this is what I have open right now. Oh, and another call booked. And it's just like when that alignment piece is there, it is not banging your head against the wall, but yet we're so used to banging our head against the wall. So it's like, again, like shifting that trust into, it's okay for it to be easy. Mm-hmm. It's okay for it to feel good. And it's okay for me to follow that instead of the very masculine way.
And a belief you have to get it right, especially I think because there's a lot of women in our profession. There's this like, I have to be perfect. I have to get it right. I can't fail.
Mm-hmm.
And like that. And when you say trust, I'm assuming you're saying trust in like your intuition, trust in yourself, trust
Yeah.
in what?
Trust in, like for me, as I mentioned in the beginning, that like visceral feeling, like you have to get out of here, you have to leave this job. Every time I've trusted that feeling or that like pull forward, something amazing has opened up. And it's everything says don't try, like all of the things up here say that's unreasonable. That's like, why would you do that? You need to be responsible. You need to like do all the, but when I trust it, the most amazing things keep opening up, that now I've built this log of, okay, when I trust it, this is actually what happens. So I think the trust is like rebuilding that new experiences to give you the proof that you can trust it.
Well, and so what would you say? Because we have a lot of people that talk to my team and I, and they're like, this is perfect. Like there's this visceral feeling on that call, like, this is what I've been seeking. This is what I've been praying for. Like, you know, I asked my angels and your webinar showed up and now I'm on the call, and we make the invitation for them to join. And then they go, but now I don't know if I can. Now I got to go figure it out. Now I got to go like back into how I'm used to operating to figure out how I'm going to step forward. What would you say to those people? Because it is that like, you know, we're trying to break some cycles, and we've structured every ounce of this program to help people move forward in this new aligned body mind way. And I always say the hardest step is saying yes to it, because it requires this moment of trust in that part of you that's like, this is a yes. What would you say to that person who is on that line?
I'm like feeling it too, because I remember that moment that it was scary and it's hard, but it really is that is the first step, because then once you get into the program, you have to trust yourself again to make the offer and to trust that you can serve them in the way that you know in your heart you're capable of, and that there are people there that want that. So it's like this continual, it starts with saying yes to yourself. I'm going to get teary-eyed, because like just me taking that moment for myself, and it was scary. Like when I left that spa job, you know, to have my income go, and then to say yes to a program, I was like, this doesn't make sense, you know, but I felt it in my heart that this was the missing piece.
Yeah.
And it was that moment of trust. And it was just like, this is it. I have to trust this. I can figure it out.
Yeah.
I figured it out enough up until now, and I can figure it out. So I know that it's scary, but the scary thing is being stuck where you are and never doing anything about it. Like to me, it was like, I didn't want to continue in that way. And here was an opening, and it was saying, yeah, it's scary. It's out of my comfort zone. I have to trust my gut on this. But what's the alternative?
Yeah. And I think this is, you know, as people come in and speaking to the people here who are in the program, where we're asking you to step up and just continually trust and build faith. Like, you know, we're body workers. We're building a muscle of faith and trust and our intuition, which is all body, and bringing back connection to that. And the more you trust that, when, you know, when you get your offers together, like trusting to go and have those enrollment conversations, trusting that the people are going to say yes, trusting in yourself that you're going to figure it out. And it's, you know, we talk about feel your way forward and let it be messy. But to me, those phrases are really about, let me just be authentically me and know that that's enough. And that I can receive for this. And it doesn't have to be so hard. I mean, there's still effort, right, in that growth space, but it's a different space when it's like, this is my heart in action, and I'm just going to trust and do the thing anyway. And I know that there's a lot of personal development people who talk about, you know, at some point, the fear of actually going for it has to be stronger than like, oh, I think I'm saying this wrong. The fear of going for it will be stronger than the pain of actually staying where you are. Mm-hmm. Or the pain of growth will be stronger than the pain of staying where you are. And it's like, you had that moment and you're like, let's do it.
Yeah. And there was another part to that kind of came up. I had been trying to figure it out on my own for a long time, like 6 years. And, you know, there's so many self-study programs and courses. And I just knew that I needed support. And that was really like, yes, you give us modules and structure and all that, but honestly, the support piece of having a community of like-minded, heart-centered people, that was the thing that has propelled me forward. It's just like having that community. It's different than other business communities I've been in. It's just not the same.
Well, and can you talk about that? Because, you know, I know the head wants the knowledge and the information. And the way we've structured this is that there's information and then there's embodiment. Mm-hmm. And it's the embodiment and the doing and having that support and that community around you that is vital to actually going towards your goals. Can you talk a little bit about our community? Because I have not yet found the words. Like, I'm like, our community is awesome. Like, it kicks ass, but I don't even know how to describe how freaking amazing our community is. I'm just hoping that maybe you have better words than I have, because it's just like incredible people who truly love and want to make a difference and like doing amazing things. Like,
I'm blown away by everybody in the community because they are these heart-centered, kind, caring, loving individuals that want to make a difference in the world. Like they know that they have helped people. They know they're capable of it, and they're stepping out of their comfort zone to step up so that they can serve and make the world a better place and create that own ripple effect. And like the support that, like, I go in there some days, I'm like, I don't need to even support anybody. They're all supported. Well, and supporting each other. And it's like, I know for me, when I was going through the program, the self-doubt that comes up with any time you step out of your comfort zone, to have community there being like, yeah, but this is what you're working on, and this is amazing. And, you know, what are the questions to bring you back into alignment has been so huge. And I love that it's also diverse. Like, everybody's doing different things. And that's the alignment piece.
Yeah.
That's like, even yesterday, you know, someone in another group, I was like, oh man, maybe I should really be working on that. Like, I should really be focusing my energy on building that part of my business. And then I was like, no, this is what I have to keep my blinders on. This is what I'm doing. This is the right next steps. So it's like, there's also that dance in the community of like, you want to make sure that the aligned piece is there, and you're not just trying to do things because other people are doing them. Does that make sense? Like, I think
totally.
It's really easy to be like, oh my God, I have to do a retreat, and I have to do a workshop, and I have to run Facebook ads. And like, it's like, no, you just have to do the next step for you. And that is what the support coaches in the community and the whole community, I think what's so cool is like, once people are in there for a few months, they start supporting people in that way. And it's like, it's amazing.
You said two interesting things here of like, one, we want to like draw out your unique skills and talents. So this isn't like we give you one set structure and you have to conform to what we say. We give you a framework and a set of principles to follow, and really just the process to help like discover and stay grounded, right? That you're doing for yourself, that you're learning how to do with your clients. And from there, it's like, we want to really unleash your brilliance. And, you know, again, like the coaching becomes the glue to all of the brilliance and all the things that you've already learned. And it's like, all of a sudden you have this strong structure that you can create. So there's this ability to like be yourself, but then also, I was kind of curious, just, the support. My heart is that we love and create a group with, like, my intention is I want to grow through intimacy and connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just curious, like, thinking of the support that you received in this process, how might that have been different from other programs? And like, what was it that was so valuable for you?
Well, I'm still connected with everybody in my program.
Yeah.
Like we are talking every day. And I think what's different is learning to have that framework. We get to support each other in that way. So it's not like, well, I think you should do this. It's it really is, how do you want to feel? What feels good to you? And like, that's the support that I continued to receive from the people that I went through the program with, and the people in the program, I'm sure, if I asked them for support. But and on your team, it's just like, what support do you need? What feels good to you? And I've never worked anywhere. I've never been a part of a community that is like so tapped into how I want to feel in my business. And in doing so, I want to get up every day super early and start working. I'm like, it's 7:30. Don't talk to me. I am working. Like I love it. And I'm just in it, and I want to do it every day. And that's kind of what keeps me going, is that alignment piece, not the, I have to do this because that's going to burn me out again.
Yeah. I'm really living in the land of like, my job is to embody, serve, and receive. And as long as I do those three things every day, and it's like, yes, they're like a little loop, right? So they all feed off of each other.
Yeah.
And, that process has been how we continue to grow. And I know people get caught up in, I need the thing, and I need the thing, and I need the thing. And it's like, you need to embody, serve, and receive, and just stay in that process, and it starts to grow. Can you talk about a little bit of like, what are some of the things that you've done from incorporating coaching into your business? Because I have loved watching you grow. And I just want to say that, like, I see Simple Sacred with Carly Zimmer. Like, I see the magazine. I see the, I see the lifestyle brand. I see, the smoothie book. I've always said, as a coach, my job is to believe in your greatness until you believe it in yourself. So I just want you to know that I'm holding that vision for you. Whatever ends up showing up, there's so much in this. But can you talk, this has just been a couple years, like, can you talk about like, what are some of the things that you've done, and how has your business shifted since bringing in the coaching?
So I really just went for it when I was in the program. And because I had the support, I felt like I could try lots of different things. And what shifted for me was, instead of trying to get it right or perfect, I really took like, let it be messy and, fail fast or fail forward, to heart, and stop trying to get it right. And I did workshops. I did joint workshops. I did my own workshops. I did a retreat. I did a few rounds of the group program, individual coaching, and just virtual coaching, and just got to feel what all of that felt like. And that was the most important part, because I got to feel it. I got to feel what it felt like to host joint workshops versus my own retreat, and what I would do differently. And that's just such valuable information, because when you get to feel what it feels like, right away if it's a or
yeah. Well, and now you're like, I can follow it. Can you talk about like that first coaching client, the first coaching only client? Because something shifted for you when that happened.
Yeah. So I have been offering coaching with massage, and one of my clients they're like, I don't really want massage. I just want coaching. And it was like, oh, I can do that. And all of a sudden, I noticed that it was so easy and so light and so energizing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, holy cow, I think I can actually, like, what if I just could do this? And then from there, I did a group program, which I loved even more. And I just loved coaching the groups. And now at this point, like, I just stepped away from my massage practice a few months ago to do just coaching. Now that took time, you know, and there were other factors in that decision, but just to be able to finally, after all these years, feel like I found the thing that I'm meant to do, and that it's okay for me to do it, and it's okay for me to receive for it.
Yeah.
That has been like the biggest light bulb moment of, I don't have to freaking work so hard all the time. Yeah. And it's okay. And other people get to receive when I get to let it be easy. Yeah. And that's just been like, it blows my mind. It's just like, what?
And I feel like the coaching piece, like, it just gives you so much freedom in how you start to set things up. Mm-hmm. And can you, because I listened to your conversation with Michelle, can you talk about how the number of coaching clients you saw last year versus there was, you know what I'm talking about here?
Yes.
Versus the number of massages you did and how that impacted your income?
Yeah. So, I put my big girl pants on and I hired an accountant.
What?
Yeah. But, we were looking at my numbers, and that's a whole other conversation, just about how to really feel empowered by knowing your business and tracking your business and watch, because what I was able to do, instead of just,
we could go, we could go down the road of like the money story, all that. Yes. Oh, and how your body reacts. Yes. There's so much to heal in that too. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
But just to have that empowerment of tracking, this is how much I made seeing hundreds of massage clients last year. Mm-hmm. And this is how much I made seeing 16 coaching clients. I made more in coaching than I did
from 16 people versus 16 people. Hundreds of massages.
And I wasn't even giving coaching my full energy because I was doing massage. I was doing both. And I was just like doing way too many things. But what I realized was, holy crap, if I focus my attention on coaching, what might be possible? Like my income goals could actually be reached. Whereas just seeing clients per massage, my income goals could never be reached. Like, they just couldn't. I physically could not see all of those people. So that was a real eye-opening experience. And I got to make a bigger impact while doing it, because my clients got better results. They started to feel better. They started to change their lifestyle. I mean, it's just, to me, it's like, once you see all that and you actually see numbers, because then you get to have proof.
Yes.
Like, wow, this is actually possible. And if I get hurt or injured, I actually have a way that I can keep.
Or if you move to Ireland.
If I move to Ireland. It might be happening.
Yes. Well, and all of it, like the impact that happens from the coaching is that like, you're teaching your clients how to listen to their bodies and make choice in their life. Mm-hmm. And how that just drastically changes everything and creates a win-win for everyone involved.
It does.
And the question I have is, you went through BodyMind, and then also you upgraded into what is now our mastery program. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of our mastery people are kind of like in that, okay, I see that this works, but there's the old way of being. And then how do I do them both? And I also think this is where our gremlins show up again with, I got to get this right and perfect, and I have to know all the things. So what would you say to them, like, as they're kind of going into that transition, or just, starting to see, like, there's potential in me doing coaching. Mm-hmm. How do I navigate this? Yeah.
Well, the first thing that popped into my head is to stay in your lane and to keep offering and to keep making those choices, because I had a ton of noise over here saying, like people still wanting all the massage and like all the potential to make income through massage kept coming in. But I was like,
yes, it's so, it's like
hard.
in the moment, you're like, I can make $75. I can make $100.
Yes.
And then, but at the same time, it's like, but over here, if you offer a coaching program, there's an opportunity for 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. And it's like that in between space. And I went through this, and we're constantly growing. That in between space is so, that gap.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to them?
It comes back to that trust.
Mm-hmm.
And if you never make offers, the clients are never going to get to say yes. That's it. It's like, you have to trust that what you're offering
mm-hmm.
is going to serve them, because it is. It's like, everyone in the group that I've talked to in the past few months, like they know how they want to work, and they know how they want to serve their clients, and they know what it's going to look like, but they're afraid to offer it because someone might say no. And so some people will say no, mm-hmm. and that's okay. And it's just like, you just have to keep making offers, and you keep refining your languaging. You keep refining, and you keep refining. You're still refining every day.
It never stops. Yeah.
Right. So you don't need the perfect offer. You just need a little tiny snippet, and that gets you going. And for me, I knew that it felt so right in my body that this is what I knew I needed to offer my clients, mm-hmm. that I had to I still said yes to tons and tons of massage. I'm not going to lie. Like but I remember when we were at a retreat, there was a moment where it was like, I can't let coaching grow if I keep saying yes. So it's like the same thing at the beginning when someone says yes to this program. Mm-hmm. You can't expect a different result if you don't say yes to mm-hmm. the answer that's right in front of you. So when the answer is right there, it's like, you have to just have the courage to say yes, instead of like, but I can make $100 over here.
Yeah.
So that's really, it's like having the courage to step forward and to trust it.
And to trust it, and to start where you are and grow on it. I always laugh, because I heard this again when I was listening to your conversation with Michelle. You said, my first coaching client, I charged $1,100, and I think it was $1,100 for 3 months, which for some people is like, oh my God. Right. And you said, as soon as you did that, you're like, it wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. Like you make these offers. And if you haven't come into BodyMind, part of what we teach you is how, instead of doing single sessions, we show you how to create this amazing program structure where you give a framework for your clients to step into. And the process is it's amazing. But what it lets you do is it lets you leverage your time more. So instead of being paid per session, maybe you're paid $2,000 for 3 months or $5,000 for 6 months. And you can bring in different levels of service like Carly did. But what I love is that you did that first program, you charged $1,100, and then you said, holy crap, that wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. Why wasn't it enough?
Well, I think my clients, like, it takes a certain amount of money for someone to get a result. And I think that's and I've seen this again and again, because I'm still working on this. I'm still refining this. It's like,
I think I know what you're going to say. And we still fall into this pit every once in a while, but go ahead. Okay.
You want to find a number that feels good, but it also has to be the number that your clients are going to get results and take action. And I've seen this again and again and again in myself. And it's so hard, because you're like, but this is enough for me. Like, I don't need more than 1,100. It's fine.
Right.
But meanwhile, if your client doesn't get the result, what's the point? Like
it's about the client showing up. It's like every time, so when I shut down my old course, I did a one last hurrah of, you can come in for a discounted rate, or I'm sorry, not a discounted rate. It was an extended payment plan. It was like $99 a month. and they still got access to calls and Q&As and all sorts of stuff. Not one of those people ever showed up to a group call.
Wow.
And I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, I did this last year, by the way, and I teach this stuff. Like,
yeah,
what is it going to take for, it's not about what you make from it. It's about what is it going to take for your client to show up and do the thing and trust,
mm-hmm.
you know.
I know for me, Laura, it took me signing up for
the higher level. Yeah. For the higher level.
Honestly, because every month when my payment plan, my payment hit, I was like, I got to make an offer. I got to make another offer. Mm-hmm. I have to keep offering. And it was me. Like, that level of investment was me saying, I need to show up. Yeah. I need to do this. Yeah. And I swear that's why I'm sitting right here. Like, it is just because I said yes. And I was like, I need to make this happen by making an offer. And because of that, I got to experiment and play and see what felt good and what didn't, and have people say no to me, like, a lot of times, but now it's okay because I've tried it, and it's like, you can say no, it's all right.
Yeah.
And I'm not,
and you can also say yes. And like, yes. And now it's like, what is possible when they do. So it's like, look, you can say no, no big deal. But when you say yes, and that, like, opening yourself into something so amazing and so beautiful. And I am like going to celebrate with you, and I'm going to welcome you in and hold space for you and love you and stand with you and walk with you. And like,
and what my clients have received when they've said yes, like, blows my mind. And that also helps me make more offers.
That's what makes me want to cry.
I know. Cause it's just like, holy cow. Like, I just had a client who really, like, throughout our 4 months together, started to value herself. And she had this awareness that she had never really valued herself before. And in doing so, she's like, I am going to sell my house. I'm going to move into an apartment that inspires me so that I can change my budget, so that I can travel the world. And like, just these, like, changing her, instead of doing all the things she should do, she's like, I'm doing this and I am changing my life. And it's personally affected me as well with my family.
I was thinking about that earlier.
And it's just like, so that is my drive when I see the results. And for myself, like, my husband and I are getting ready for a move across the Atlantic Ocean for a few months. Hopefully, eventually, happen soon.
Someday. Which if you could you imagine if you still just had a massage practice, how this would even happen?
No, I'd be a basket case. I'd be like, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to, how am I going to make any money? Because I love working.
Yeah.
And it was difficult to close my massage practice down. But at the same time, I had this whole other thing that I've been asking for. And as soon as I closed the practice down, it's like, here you go. So again, it comes back to that trust.
Yeah. I want to, like, talk to you all day because I love you so much.
But you have a call.
Well, I get to prepare for a call, which actually, like, I want to make them to watch this before the call. So just words of wisdom, I really feel like this is, that message from your heart that you want to give to the world. Because I think it applies to, are you thinking about this? Are you here? You've just started? Are you, kind of growing and expanding into the BodyMind process? But what is just that message that your heart wants to share with the world, that you want to extend to the people who are listening?
I think it's when you get to trust yourself and show up in the world in a way that you get to serve and share your gifts that are so easy and natural, and you get to receive for that, the possibilities of how you can impact the world are unlimited, because your energy isn't zapped. You make those aligned decisions, and it's just like it feeds your energy instead of depletes it. So, like, I guess I would say, if you're feeling drawn to it, if you're in the program and you're nervous, but you know what you need to do, like, just doing it is going to get you the information. to take the next step. So you don't need the whole big plan. I'm still pivoting. I literally said to my husband last night, like, this is a constant pivot. It is a constant, like, this is the plan, but to get there, it's not linear, which is the alignment piece.
Yeah.
Because you have to feel what it feels like to take the step forward.
Yeah.
And it can be scary, but this is another thing I love to say. When you're uncomfortable in the comfort zone, but it's uncomfortable, you have to be uncomfortable in a new way to say yes.
Yeah.
But what's on the other side is all of this potential of you being able to share your gifts with the world and ultimately make it a better place. I know it sounds a little like hokey, but it's so true. Like all of my clients, my family members, like they are stepping up in ways that I could have, it wouldn't be possible without being able to share this work.
And I mean, you know my heart, and I've said this before, like, I really feel like, and I don't talk about this much, maybe I should. To me, I feel like this is how I share God's love, universal love, whatever you want to call it. I really believe that coming home to the body is creating world peace. Yeah. Because it's just, you're finally, like when you're in your body, you are connected. You're connected to the earth. You're connected to those around you. You cannot be in your body and be disconnected. You just can't. And so I do think this work is world peace. And I know you're fit, like when your family really grew, I mean, that just touched my heart so much. Like I get excited when the therapists come in here and, you know, they start doing this, and I love it when they're like making money and making offers and all that good stuff. But I love when people start talking about, this is what my client's doing. This is what happened with my relationship, you know, with my husband, my spouse, my family, my parents. Like it's like the ripple effects light me up. You know, I had a client that like through BodyMind coaching chose to leave her high paying, you know, 6-figure plus job that was stressing her out to be a stay-at-home mom. And I actually saw her a couple days ago, and this was probably 6 or 7 years ago. She's like, when I heard my body clearly telling me, this wasn't me coaching her and telling her to leave her job. This was just me saying, how does your body say yes? And how does your body say no? I mean, like that, we didn't even talk about work. And we just had this embodied conversation. She walks out the door and comes back in and is like, I quit my job. And years later, she's like, that was the best moment. Like, thank you for holding space so I could finally hear that. And
it's amazing.
Like, that's the stuff that I'm like, if everybody learned this and could do this.
Yes. It's simple. And that's why I love it too. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It's just learning how to trust and listen to your body and feel your body.
Yeah.
And trust. It's like a cycle, and then trust your body and feel
right. And then I would throw in like value yourself in this too, like like trust, and also like value, and like have those boundaries, have those standards, like, and receive. I mean, there's so much that goes into this, but I don't know. Where can people find you? I know I said it at the beginning, but we'll just wrap this up again. Where can people find you if they want to connect?
So everything's, my website is carlyclarkzimmer.com. I also have a free Facebook group that's really fun and just like a nice way for people to come in and get to know me. And it's called Simple Sacred Life.
Yeah. And I know if people might have questions about BodyMind coaching, is it okay if they reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, I could talk about this all day long.
I know. Which I'm like, that's where I get to receive, because I'm like, am I okay to have Carly? You know, like, it's funny because it just comes in so many different ways. But I adore you. Thank you.
I adore you.
You're the best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thanks for watching.